Hello guys, Wally Creeper here, and as promised, this episode we're going to be working with the spider spawner, and we're going to be turning it into an XP farm, um, which will hopefully tide us over nicely until we manage to take on the Ender Dragon and make an Enderman farm in the end. So what I've done is I've cleared the space out around the spawner. And for those of you who don't know, the way spawners work is they will spawn in an 8x8 by 3 block area. So it's 8x8 horizontally and 3 vertically. And that's the horizontal distances are centered around the corner with the lowest X and Z coordinates. So if we just have a look there, if we travel in this direction here, both X and Z increase. So this corner here is the center of the spawning area. Now I've laid torches out to map out the spawning area. So this here is directly below, and you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 in that direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 and 4 over there. The 3 tall height is in the level of the spawner itself, and the level above and the level below, which means we need an extra block below because we're going to be using water to move them. And although they don't, spawners don't obey normal mob spawning rules when creating, in this case, cave spiders, in that they can spawn on air. They won't spawn in water, as far as I'm aware. We'll also need a block above for them to spawn in, and a block above that because they need an air block above the block in which they are spawning in order to spawn. So that rule is still obeyed. So our roof, the ceiling of the mob cage will be in line with this block here, and the water will be on this level here. And I'm not going to build this entire thing on camera, but I'm going to demonstrate a few things. I brought some materials down. Normally, for most mob spawners, what I like to do is build the mob spawners. I'm going to need some dirt for this demonstration. Okay, there we go. Right, so normally for zombies, at least, and also skeletons, although they do present a danger with this method of building mob traps, what I like to do is use half slabs laid out like this. Okay, and then and then we'll remove this. Okay, so you end up with a cage that you can see through. Now the advantage of this is, although you can see through the cage, and if it's open on all sides and you've got lighting on all sides, you can see the light. By virtue of the light on the other side, you can see the mobs inside the cage. This is graphical only. No light will actually penetrate these gaps because of the way half slabs work. So in game terms, with a complete cage like this, if there's no light sources inside, it will be light level 0. And what you'll be able to see is the silhouettes of the mobs moving around and getting pushed around. However, can't do that with cave spiders, because cave spiders are, well, they're either less than 0.5 of a block high tall, or they're exactly 0.5 of a block tall. Not sure which, but it does mean they can escape through that 0.5 block, unlike zombies, normal spiders, and skellies. Although interestingly, normal mobs will track you through that gap, even though light won't get through. So if you do the build with half slabs for a skelly trap, you have to be prepared to take a few arrows to the face once in a while, which adds a certain spice. So instead of using half slabs, what I thought I will try out is to build with stairs, like so. And like that. So what we'll end up with is, let's put some dirt down. What we'll end up with is a cage with much smaller holes, because I do like to be able to see inside. There's no fun in having just a blank box. So we'll have this lattice here, and the cave spiders should not be able to fit through here. Stairs, I believe, work in the same way as half slabs for lighting, so it should be like level 0 in there once it's complete. We'll be adding shut-offs in the form of, well, I've not been to the nether yet. I could do, but yeah, I don't want to at the moment. So the shut-offs will consist of 4 pillars of lava that will be held back with pistons. That will be enough to shut down the spawner when they're lowered, and what we'll probably do is hold those in place at about this level with some signs, so they drop down to here, just above the water. So what I'll do is I will build that off camera, and I'll get back to you. Oh, one more thing. So 8x8 is the spawning area. It will come out 1 extra block on this side, and that's to accommodate a water stream going this direction, and we will push the spiders over here somewhere, and possibly into this area here, or possibly up onto this viewing gantry here. This was just part of the abandoned mineshaft, it was already here. So yeah, I will get on with building that, and I'll be back with you when that's done. Okay, we're here with an update. So I built the cage. Let's have a look from outside. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. And if we look inside, so yes, we're going to have water from this edge coming along here. So it'll reach this block here, and then these signs will hold back another water stream running along this wall. Okay, and this sign here will hold back a water coming along here. In fact, I'll just demonstrate. So if we put a water here, it flows 2. This is to help push the spiders right in the corner. And if we put one in here, it flows all the way along there. Got to be careful not to drop this water on the torches, otherwise we shall have some fun. Now I've constructed these little cups out of signs here to hold like a lava column coming down, and if you look, so if that was dropping down from the top of the cage, you'd end up with a column of lava stopping above the water, which is important for obvious reasons. And there's one on each side there. But I'm not very happy with that. I know they're on the inside, but I don't know. there are too many signs floating on the inside in that method, so I'm gonna have a bit of a play, see if we can come up with a better method. I'm thinking about possibly extending a lava blade out through there, and having a piston in that space there to push down and stop it, or maybe in the block behind, and that might well give us enough light, but I do need to figure out how to stop what we don't want any spaces that any nooks that spiders can crawl into and get stuck, and reduce the efficiency of the farm. So I will be back with you once I've figured that out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have the lava come down at the corners, and that way we can suspend it with just these 3 signs, like so. And that should, if I've done my sums right, that should provide enough light to disable the spawner when the lava is dropping. So what I'm going to do is put a roof on this and set up the pistons. I also need to go and find myself a bit of lava. I'll be back with you when I've done that. Okay guys, I've been busy, and I've done the wiring, and I've also cleared out this space here. We're going to have our spider killer located here so that we can look into the cage while we're working, as it were. And I'm envisioning, because they're going to have to jump up another block from here, some sort of glass console. Really, ideally, you want your killer station to be over a corner so that the spider's tracking will help you out. However, these things are never going to get you to level 50 in 2 minutes anyway, so it hardly seems worth the effort of doing and you can look straight in this way. As you can see, if I'm stood at this point here, the spawner is active. If I move back onto this block here, it's not active. This block, and it becomes active. So we're going to need to stand at the console here. So this might need a bit of redesigning actually. Not entirely certain, but I'll figure that out. But for the moment, I've sorted our lava lights. Got a switch here to flick it. And if we go in here, we can see that it comes down, and what we'll do is we'll just jump up top and I'll show you the wiring, and then we'll remove all these torches and see if it does in fact provide enough light. Okay, so it's quite simple really, just 4 sticky pistons and a cable straight across, wire straight across on this gantry. Could have done something fancier, but to be honest, my philosophy is to keep things simple where possible. I like doing fancy stuff, but I try not to overcomplicate things if I don't have to. Obviously, sometimes get carried away, but hey, that's Minecraft. So let's go and remove those torches and see if those lava pillars are in fact bright enough. Grab ourselves another bucket. And what we'll do is we'll temporarily block this up just in case they are going to start spawning. Okay. So before we put water in, I don't know, just edge under here. I didn't point this out earlier. I'm using the pressure plate and fence post arrangement from my cave spider transport tutorial. So just wanted to point that out. Let's I might be a bit quiet here. I'm listening to see if something's spawning behind me. Not so far. Okay, that looks as if it's doing the job to me. Water streams look good. Let's get out of here and seal her up. That there. That there. I've made a mistake there, and I better correct that because a cave spider will get out of there. There does appear to be a stair missing somehow. How have I done that? Where did it go? Right, okay, we'll grab another stair. That's a good job I saw that. There's some stuff missing there as well, that's because it's only partially built. Let's put those in though. Okay, cool. And thinking about it, this shouldn't. Yep, that's fine. Right, okay. So in fact, this is going to be even higher than I thought. I wonder what happened. No, because that'll flow back, create a backflow. Right, so I think I'm going to have to raise all of this up by a block. I've made a slight mistake here. Yeah, because our water source for the exit flow is going to go above this pressure plate here. And I don't want to make them go down because that's tricky. They can be a bit stubborn about that. Right, okay, I'm going to figure this out and I'll get back to you. Okay guys, finally making some progress on this. I had to take out this bit up here. I'll have that. I've brought the whole location of the killer, the crusher, forward so that it's within reach of one water stream. What that does is it saves me having to raise it up. It's not perfect. you're going to really get a good view in if you kind of stood around here, but this should be far enough away that it'll be far enough away for the spawner to keep producing spiders. Because spawners will only produce their mobs as long as there's less than 6 within. Now I believe it's a 17 block cube. So let's test that out. I've not got any crusher yet, but let's do it. I've closed this up, yeah. Okay, so we flick that switch, the lava descends and disappears. It's now light level 0 in there. And let's count these spiders. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm wondering, do they have a problem climbing glass? I didn't think they do. They do seem to be struggling. I didn't think it made a difference. Oh dear, right, okay, I lost count there. Right, we've got 8 there, so it is still spawning regardless, although I do think I saw a spider climb that wall. So, what's the deal with it? Yep, there's one. Look at them. Look at him. Right, so I'm going to have to modify the internal structure of this. You know, they are clearing. Oh, and they've made the cake. Great. Spider cake. One of the brilliant examples of why you should try and make your spawner traps being able to see in them is you can see if there are any jams without having to resort to, like, I don't know, see-through textures or something like that, or the danger of actually getting in there with them, which would be suicide. Right, I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to extend the 2-block water source that you can you see it? Does the angle allow for that? Oh, it's hidden behind there. That 2-block water source, I think we're going to have to extend that setup along the length of this wall so that as they're tracking me, they'll come towards us and then get pushed along. Technically speaking, it would probably be more efficient to tear this entire thing down and make it so they came out the centre here. 2 water streams and then a central point. But to be frank, as I've said, these traps are they're not, if you're looking for high level enchantments, these sort of traps are just not going to provide them without a frankly ridiculous amount of AFK time. So I'm happy for the moment. We may come back and rebuild this. I'm happy to move on and build the crusher system. Let's turn that off. Lava descends. We'll have a quick gander at the wiring. It's nothing revolutionary. May have already. Did I already show that? Just a moment. Apologise for that. Phone going off. Right. Let's get rid of these guys. And we'll be back after I've done this. Okay, so they're gone. Right, so, yep, wiring comes along and activates sticky pistons, which pushes a block in front of the lava. So, yeah. As for the crusher, the idea is that we're going to be moving, we're going to have a piston that's going to move this block here, and a piston below at this point, so the faceplate will be there. These are both sticky pistons that will move this same block up against this bar to crush them, and then we'll withdraw, and that will leave that in this position here. Yeah. So the water stream will be blocked off, and we'll know that everything in there is good for one hits, and we shall hide the wiring down here. It will need a reset as well to just extend this piston and retract it to withdraw the block back out, and open the way for more spiders into the collection area. So we're going to need to use delay, and I know from past experience that 13 repeaters with them on maximum, maybe one not on that to fine tune, it will give you enough of a delay for the crushing action to bring cave spiders down to 1 heart. I believe it's 13 repeaters. So I'll get on with that, and I'll come back to you when I've got that laid out. Okay guys, so been busy. I've extended the water flow on the wall adjacent to the killing station to flow the entire length. I've also swapped the water stream around so it flows towards the crusher, the killing station, and this is because as they're going to track me and try and go that way anyway, I might as well make use of it. And it seems to work very well. I'm not getting any spiders, or I'm not seeing any spiders yet get stuck up in the top. I've done the wiring for the crushing setup, and I'll demonstrate it. 2 buttons, kill and collect. So and let's just reset the system. So this block here is the one to look at. It's going to get pushed across and up, and we'll see if we can get a good angle for you to see that. There you go. That sits there, and it gets retracted. Kill the spiders, push it again to get any loot. Some of it gets trapped under this bar, but you get so many spider eyes and string from these things. I really, don't. Oftentimes I'll have a lava pool just to chuck the things in, because you just get tons of them, and then reset. Quick look at the wiring. The easy one to understand is the reset. This block, which gets powered by the button, is sat directly on the piston that moves this block sideways. Now, this one is more complicated, and it's also slightly mysterious. And something happening that I don't understand, but it works, and so I'm going to roll with it. So the button powers the block, which in turn powers this redstone, which goes down and down, and it powers this block, which powers this piston, which pushes this block over this torch, so the block becomes powered, which powers the wire, and under there is the piston, the vertical piston, that pushes up. Which you can see if I jump up here, this piston here. Now, somehow, and I wasn't really thinking when I laid this out because I was making changes and I didn't take into account that I'd need to push this piston here, so I didn't really make any provision for powering it, and well, somehow it works anyway. So, but this piston stays extended until the end of the cycle, so I'm not sure. It somehow must be. Why am I always doing that? Somehow must be gaining power from this wire down here, basically. Or from somehow from this torch. When this power gets blocked, maybe the wire. I didn't think wire would power up. I know if that's a torch down there, it would power the piston, but I was certain why it didn't. So something's happening. Maybe, I don't know, some form of bud switch arrangement, because there is a piston over there, but then this fires quickly enough to move that across. So it's entirely unknown. I didn't think this button powering this block, I didn't think it would power this block as well, and thus power the piston. I'm not sure, but it works. So yeah, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth on that. If anyone can explain that to me, I know it's not exactly. It's all kind of covered up now and whatnot, but yeah. Can I have that bit of redstone back? No? Sod you then. So, yes, not sure. Anyway, so this block's pushed over the torch, which powers that wire. The signal, meanwhile, carries on. It turned out that it's actually 14 repeaters you need. 13 on maximum, plus 1 on the second setting. The signal goes through into the block, along here, into this block, along here, and then into this block, which fires this piston, pushes this block back over there, so there's nothing to power the wire anymore, and well, apparently both pistons then become unpowered. As I say, I can't really explain the side one yet, but it works, and as I say, I'm not really one to look a gift horse in the mouth. So what we'll do is we'll turn it on, and while we're waiting for that to build up, I'll just okay. So we'll turn that off, give them a motor, get settled. How many we got in there? E9. Okay, right, fair enough. Right, so kill. Okay, one of them took a little damage there because we saw a bit of string. So somewhere one of them may have climbed a wall and taken fall damage. So unfortunately, there's not much you can do about that unless you let them climb the wall and come over in like an over-the-top arrangement, like Izuma Void did one like that in his world. Okay, so up. Yep, we lose what looks like a spider eye and a piece of string. Don't really care. Reset. Ready for more. And I know that I said I was going to get onto some farming. do a chicken farm or a wheat farm or something like that. But this episode, the spider trap has really taken up a lot more time than I thought. This is the new water lift I dug. Found the coordinates of the spawner and just, I went to the spawner and dug spirally straight up, basically. Just rather than going through caves to find my way. Put this little thing in the middle of the tree farm. This here is probably, considering there's a spawner already at the bottom of it, this tower is probably going to be my hostile, contain my hostile mob farm. Somewhere up there. We'll get onto that relatively soon. Because we need to get food sorted out first, simply because it's starting to become a bit of a pain. But after that, I think we're going to want to move right along and get on with a hostile mob farm, because we need the resources, arrows. Grinding gravel into flint is not my favourite exercise. I'd rather have a mob farm give me the arrows I need. It would have been nice to find a skelly spawner, and maybe we will at some point, but I think if we build it correctly, a hostile mob farmer will provide us with all we need in terms of mob drops, apart from the spider stuff, which will stop them spawning, because we've got the spider farm at the bottom, so we don't need them, and they're a pain to deal with. I'll probably build a chicken farm for the next episode. I'm not sure how interested you guys are in having that on camera, because there is a tutorial that's pretty comprehensive. So that might be, I might cut that down as far as possible into snapshots just to kind of save time. And then I'd really like to get on with the hostile mob tower, tower 2, whatever we call it. I'd like to get on with that as soon as possible, so that we've got resources. So however, this episode is turning into a rather long one, and here I am rambling, so I think we will close. We'll do one of my things I like to do in this game. I think it's quite fun. Here we go. Whee! Perfect. Alright, I'll see you next episode. Bye.